Now, in the last month or so, we've seen a huge uptick in the number of Chinese jet planes crossing into Taiwan's airspace.
That's right. And this past weekend, we also saw 100 Chinese boats surround a Taiwanese island for the first time.
It looks like we're surrounded. Those are the words of a man who watches as more than 100 Chinese boats gather in waters near the Taiwanese islands of Matsu. Taiwan's Coast Guard tells the ships that they've entered restricted waters and orders them to disperse. These ships began to gather in the early hours of Sunday morning between the islands of Nangan and Juguang. The Coast Guard informs the ships that they will use water cannons to drive them away. But on Monday, Premier Su Tseng tells residents of Taiwan's outlying islands not to worry. The government will leave no stone unturned when it comes to protecting Taiwan's territory, he says. From the beginning of 2019 through the end of this September, Taiwan confiscated 6 Chinese boats and auctioned them off for $5.2 million, slapping the owners with $245,000 in fines. The government says it will strengthen maritime patrols and apprehend boats illegally entering Taiwan's waters.
All this military activity has a lot of media talking about the possibility of war. Is China getting ready to invade Taiwan?
It's a great question, and in fact, you asked that of a defense expert, Dr. Lee Che-chuan, who is from the Institute for National Defense and Security Research. Let's have a look at what he had to say.
Dr. Lee, do you think that China could attack Taiwan soon?
My answer would be no. The first reason is that the airplane they sent to Taiwan's airspace are not on combat conditions. And the second one is that we don't see signs of massive military deployment or movement, especially in its southeastern coast. I don't think the PLA is really ready for the so-called all-out war, because we know that if the PLA would like to have very decisive military victory against Taiwan, they need to launch the so-called amphibious assault against Taiwan. But experts in the United States, Taiwan, or even China, they agree that for the amphibious assault, China is not really ready yet, and they don't have any serious plan to launch that kind of operation against Taiwan.
So you mean they're not ready in terms that they don't have the military hardware or...
Not enough.
Not enough.
They have some, but not enough. Experts say that if we can destroy, say, like 40% of their amphibious landing vehicles, it would be totally impossible for them to finish that kind of operation.
Taiwan has a lot of the beaches that cannot be landed on, right? And are typhoons. It's very difficult to launch an amphibious attack on Taiwan.
Yeah, that's Taiwan's natural defense advantage. Because of the rugged coastline in Taiwan, it is estimated by experts say that we only have 14 locations, which means they have the beach wide enough to launch personnel against Taiwan. Only 14 in Taiwan, and we know that, PLA know that, so we have prepared for the kind of scenario or situation. So I don't think it would be easy for the PLA to conduct that kind of operation.
So when you were talking with him, did you just breathe a huge sigh of relief?
Definitely. I'm glad he says he doesn't think there's going to be a war.
Yes.
And gave some good reasons for that. He also said that he thinks, the military activity is due to China's anger over closer U.S.-Taiwan ties.
That makes a lot of sense. Now we're going to have this full interview for you on Facebook and YouTube. Check that out. Now, you mentioned the United States. Recently, in fact, this past week, they started to move forward with another arms package for Taiwan. Let's have a look at that.
The U.S. State Department has approved the sale of 100 Harpoon coastal defense systems to Taiwan. The package still has to be approved by Congress. The Defense Ministry spokesperson thanked the U.S. State Department, saying that the weapons can strengthen Taiwan's combat and asymmetrical warfare capabilities. He said they will help upgrade the military's overall defense capabilities. The new arms package includes 100 Harpoon missiles worth $2.37 billion US dollars. This is the fourth arms package that the U.S. has announced for Taiwan in a week. It's also the ninth for the Trump administration. Taiwan is not only buying new weapons, the military is also undergoing Combat Readiness Week exercises. People could see tanks on the streets of Danshui, north of Taipei. The Defense Ministry said the aim is to use real soldiers, weapons, and terrain to train for real combat.